There are certain smells from our childhood that never really leave us. They show up the second you hear about them. The fruity markers we used in school, a brand new VHS tape from Blockbuster, the fresh pages of the Sears wish book, or that sharp chlorine scent from the community pool. And in this video, we are going back to some of the strongest ones, the scents that can bring back a moment faster than any picture ever could. If you remember even a few of these, this video will take you right back to the years when life felt a little simpler and the world smelled just a bit different. Whenever someone opened a pack of Mr. Sketch markers, that wave of fruity scent rolled across the classroom. A smell you definitely remember. Grape, cherry, blueberry, and of course that tropical mango everybody reached for first. It was one of those scents that stuck with you, even after all these years. And right beside those markers was the steady, waxy smell of a new box of Crayola crayons. Not sweet or fruity, but unmistakable in its own way. The kind of scent you recognized the moment the crayons hit the desk. There was nothing quite like the smell of those purple mimeograph sheets teachers used to hand out. They were still warm, with that sharp, alcohol-like scent that moved through the room as the stack made its way down each row. And mixed in with that was the dry, powdery smell of chalk, drifting through the air every time the board was wiped clean. Put together, those two smells followed us from one school day to the next, a quiet part of everyday life back then. Opening the Sears wish book was one of those yearly moments that stayed with you. The second you flipped through those thick, glossy pages, that fresh ink and paper smell drifted up, the kind that somehow felt tied to the start of the holidays. It was the scent of new toys, new clothes, and all the things we hoped would end up under the tree. You could sit for hours turning the pages, and that smell never really changed. Even today, just seeing an old wish book is enough to bring that scent right back, along with everything we used to circle and dream about. Kmart never had a great overall smell, but there was one place inside that everyone noticed the moment they walked past. The cafeteria. The warm scent of hot dogs and fries drifting through the air, and the smell of fresh popcorn coming from the counter. It was a simple smell, but it filled the store in a way nothing else did, and for many of us, it became one of the easiest memories to pull back from those shopping trips. Those old plastic lunchboxes had a very specific smell that never really changed, no matter which one you owned. Star Wars, He-Man, Care Bears, My Little Pony. Different pictures on the front, but the inside always had that same warm plastic scent. It mixed with sandwiches, snacks, and whatever was in the little matching thermos, creating a smell that was impossible to mistake. Picking up a VHS tape from Blockbuster had a smell all its own. The moment you opened that plastic case, you got a whiff of the tape inside, a mix of plastic, cardboard, and that faint scent from the magnetic film. It was nothing fancy, just a clean, slightly chemical smell you only noticed because you were excited to watch something new. And for a lot of us, that little moment of opening the case and catching that scent became a small tradition every weekend, right before the movie went into the VCR. Opening a fresh tub of Play-Doh was one of those small childhood moments that had its own unmistakable smell. It was a little salty, a little doughy, and so familiar that you could tell it apart instantly from anything else on the table. Every new color had that same scent the moment you peeled back the lid, and it always felt like a tiny treat before you even started shaping anything. Every bedroom we grew up in had a scent of its own, a mix of toys, books, blankets, or whatever we were into at the time. It was not something we noticed back then, but looking back, that smell was part of our daily life. And even when we walked into a friend's room, there was always a different scent, something unique to their house and the way they lived. Sometimes it was soft and cozy, sometimes a little stronger, but every room had its own fingerprint in the air. If you felt the same way, let me know in the comments. There was something very familiar about the smell of new school clothes, the mix of fresh fabric, new rubber from the shoes, the paper tags, and that clean scent everything had before it went through the first wash. For many families, back-to-school shopping was a yearly routine, and opening those bags at home always carried the same smell, no matter what you bought. Shirts, jeans, sneakers. No matter what you brought home, it all had that short-lived scent that disappeared fast but stayed in your memory for years. The smell of chlorine at the community pool was one of the strongest scents of summer. You could catch it before you even walked through the gate, that sharp, clean smell that meant long afternoons in the water. It stuck to you in a way few scents did. Your hair, your skin, even the towel you brought from home carried it for the rest of the day. And no matter which pool you went to, a big city pool or a small neighborhood pool, that same chlorine smell was always there, waiting. And how could we not mention the smell of brand new toys? The moment you opened the box, that fresh plastic scent came out, sharp and clean. The kind of smell you only got from something that had never been played with before. It did not matter if it was a doll, a truck, an action figure, or a little toy from a department store. They all carried that same familiar scent. It faded quickly, but for those first few minutes, it felt like part of the excitement of getting something new. The old Coppertone sunscreen had a scent that was completely its own. The moment someone opened the bottle, you could pick it up right away. That warm, creamy smell that showed up every summer. Families used it at the pool, at the lake, or on trips to the beach, and it always stayed on your skin for hours. A simple, everyday part of summer that many people still remember. The smell of freshly cut grass was one of the clearest signs that summer had really started. You could catch it drifting through the neighborhood as someone pushed a mower down the yard, mixing with the warm air in a way that felt familiar every year. It carried across driveways and open windows, sometimes even waking you up on a weekend morning. For a lot of families, that smell meant chores, but it also meant sprinklers, bare feet on the lawn, and long days outside. The bathroom had a very recognizable mix of smells growing up. The haze of hairspray in the morning, especially when someone used Aqua, filled the room in seconds. And then there were the lighter, sweeter scents from lotions and body sprays, like the early cucumber melon that showed up in so many homes. And of course, the strong, sweet scent of shampoos, like Hair Smells Terrific, that you could notice the moment the bottle opened. Add in the soaps, shampoos, and all the little things families kept on the counter, and every bathroom ended up with its own familiar smell. One of the most familiar smells from school days came from the library. The moment you opened a book, that mix of old paper and glue drifted out. The same scent so many of us grew up around. Walking between the shelves, you could notice it in every aisle. Steady, a little dusty, and always the same no matter which book you picked up. Some books were newer and smelled lighter. Others had that deeper, older scent that never really faded. If any of these scents brought a memory back for you, I would love to hear about it in the comments. Everyone's childhood had its own moments and little details, and your memories help bring these videos to life. And if you enjoy this kind of trip back in time, feel free to check out some of the other videos on the channel. There are plenty more stories and moments waiting for you there. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.